Hi, I'm Amy Smellers, and welcome to this week's episode of Reflective Fridays. So let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation where a loved one or a friend has come up to you and they're sharing a story that they were either really upset about or really mad about or sad about? And what was your reaction when that happened? Now I bring this up because it's usually one of two reactions. You can be sympathetic, meaning you feel sorrowful, you have the feelings, you may have pity for them, and really levels of feelings come back in because it's something you may have experienced before, and your brain's acting like you're re-experiencing that thing that happened to you, and these different types of chemicals are being released in your brain, and almost a similar fight or flight response is coming, and you're getting revved up just because you're so in that moment, because you're sympathetic with what that person has shared with you. But then there's the flip side of being empathetic. And empathetic, or if you are sharing empathy with that person, you understand what's going on and you're putting yourself in their shoes, but those same feelings aren't there. And actually, when you're empathetic, it's more of an opportunity to be objective in what's happening and to see the bigger picture. And also to ask questions if they want to have questions asked, or to just listen, but you don't have that same visceral reaction. Now, I bring this up because, you know what's interesting? Both empathy and sympathy have the same Greek roots that have pity and sorrow in them. And the word sympathy has been around a lot longer than empathy. But now in today's day and age, from the 1800s all the way now to 2016, empathy is used more often. And I wanted to bring up the distinction with you because while it may be really small, it really dives deep. And it also came up because one of the guests that I interviewed for my upcoming podcast that's going to be launched later this month, Living Intentionally, I was talking with him, and some of the work that he does is so amazing because he works with folks in the military, current or veterans, and he speaks to them because he's been in their shoes and he hears their stories. Now, for a while, it was a challenge because there's sympathy would come up so often because he'd been there, he'd done that, he knew exactly what they were feeling, but he also in his mind would be taken back to what had happened with there. He was reliving situations. And as many of you know, even if you have not served in the military, and thank you for all of those who do currently serve and have served, we're honored to have you in your service. But for those who have never served in the military, but you have other experiences, it's really hard to not relive what's happening. But sometimes you have to take yourself out of it, and you can still understand what someone's saying and still put yourself in their shoes, but be more objective. And that's where being more empathetic can be almost, self-preserving sometimes. Now, on a lighter note, I like to joke with some friends where if they're complaining about a boss or complaining about something else that's happening, that what we call first world problems, I joke, I say, okay, I don't want anything to do with this pity party y'all have going on right now. And that's my way of saying, okay, y'all are going to wallow in this, and if it makes you feel good to wallow, you can totally do that. And sometimes you have to get that out. I'm not saying you don't. But other times, if you don't want to hold on to those feelings, you can turn to the empathy side and say, oh, man, I got that. You know what? And have you, what do you think about that? And don't necessarily have to offer suggestions, but you can ask questions. Oh, I know, that stinks. Have you ever, so-and-so tried this before? Have you ever tried that? Now, you got to be careful because everyone, especially those who are in their pity party celebration, may not want help, may not want suggestions. They may just want to get off their chest. Totally cool. But it's just to let you know that there's a level of awareness around, are you being sympathetic and getting those visceral reactions and getting all jazzed up? Or are you empathetic where you're in the moment, you're talking with them, but you're a little more objective. So there's a place, always a place for everything. And I think as you get more aware, you can figure out what to use when. Because as I share with clients as well, you have feelings, and own those feelings. Those are your feelings. You can't control those. But you can control what you do with them. You can control how long you hold on to them. You can control where you choose to target them. So, for this week's challenge, I'd like you to think about, or just be aware. So next time somebody comes to you with a problem or a challenge, what's your immediate reaction? Is to be sympathetic or empathetic, or kind of somewhere in the middle? And just to get to know yourself a bit better and say, okay, do they need sympathy right now or empathy? And kind of go through that process. But with that, I thank you and honor you for sharing time with me today, and with this Reflective Fridays. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get these every week. And most importantly, don't forget to start and end every day with a smile.